The liberal Avengers absolutely got wrecked online by the so-called tolerant left. Welcome back to Bible Bears, everyone. I'm Ryder Cullison. Okay, so this all started out innocently enough. There was a TV producer, her name was Amy Berg. She posted a picture of 4 famous Chris's. Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pine, Chris Evans, and Chris Pratt. So Chris Hemsworth played Thor in the Avengers movies. Chris Evans played Captain America. Chris Pratt played Star-Lord. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy. And then there's Chris Pine, who was in the Wonder Woman movies, which is DC, not Marvel. He was also played Captain Kirk and rebooted the Star Trek movies. Yes, all very good-looking gentlemen, okay? I get it. So the E! News Network started an online poll. Hey, which one of these is the best Chris? Because there's lots of Chris's in Hollywood. Well, that just kind of started a firestorm that just snowballed and snowballed and snowballed out of control. This is what happened. Some people made some comments about Chris Pratt, such as, he's too Bible bashy. Another person said, he's become a super preachy evangelical Christian. I have no issues with anyone being super religious. I do have issues with someone using their gigantic platform to preach in a way that's divisive. Now, where did Chris Pratt get this reputation for being preachy? Here's a clip of him at the Teen Choice Awards while accepting an award.
Thank God. I always do that when I'm up on a big platform in front of a bunch of young faces. I say, I love God. That's my thing. I love him. And you should too.
You see what a preachy jerk this dude is? Now, do you know who Kevin Smith is? Kevin Smith is a director in Hollywood. He broke onto the scene for directing the movie called Clerks for a few $1,000s. He's since directed, I think, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. He's done some acting. I think he was in the 4th Die Hard movie, Live Free or Die Hard. Kevin Smith had a heart attack. Chris Pratt knew him, but wasn't friends with him. But regardless, Chris Pratt, being a good Christian that he is, tweeted out, Kevin, we don't know each other, but I'm praying for you. And then there was a backlash on that just because he tweeted out that he was praying for somebody. Somebody said, is it part of your alleged deity's master plan that he give Kevin a heart attack? And then someone else said, great. Now I won't enjoy your films as much knowing you're a Jesus nut. Jesus nut, we've heard that before, right? If you watch my past video on Bill Maher calling Amy Coney Barrett an effing nut. That's how Hollywood looks at Christians. So thankfully, some of his Avenger buddies stepped up to help. Robert Downey Jr. basically said, hey, the sinless are throwing stones. Why don't you guys go home and work on your own defects? Mark Ruffalo, who was, from what I understand, a huge liberal, he came out and defended Chris. Look, Chris is a solid man. Instead of casting aspersions, look at how he lives his life. He's just not overtly political. Now, I'm not sure why he said Chris isn't overtly political. I think there's been some questions around who Chris Pratt is voting for, as though he needs to come out and say it. So he was taken to task by the internet trolls for not deciding or not openly discussing who he's voting for, because he's so rich and white. Imagine the privilege of not having to be overtly political. Now, Zoe Saldana also came out and said, basically, your family, friends, colleagues, and everyone who's ever crossed paths with you knows your heart and your worth. Saldana, if you don't know, played Gamora in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies with Chris Pratt. Mark Ruffalo, who I just mentioned, played the Incredible Hulk. So these are all Avengers. Robert Downey Jr. played Tony Stark / Iron Man. It's great that they came out to save the day. And as you would imagine, everyone said, you know what, Avengers? You're right. We're being unfair. We should not be attacking Chris because of his beliefs or simply because he won't declare who he's voting for in the election. Now, likely Chris is voting for Trump. I'm not going to say that for sure, but he is a Christian. He is married to Arnold Schwarzenegger and Maria Shriver's daughter. Maria Shriver is a Democrat. Schwarzenegger is Republican, so Chris Pratt may have some leanings to the right. I don't know that for sure, but what we can say is thankfully the Avengers came out, set everyone straight, and everyone said, you're right. I'm going to go home, work on my defects, look at myself in the mirror, and I'm going to learn to be a better person. Oh, but that's not what happened. The tolerant left, the people who say we all need to be tolerant of everyone, are really only tolerant of the people who agree with them. They're totally intolerant of anybody who disagrees with them, even if that person typically lines with them politically. So, Chris Pratt goes to or has visited a church that apparently once believed in gay conversion therapy. And I guess he follows some people online that have been accused of being white supremacists, even though Chris isn't a white supremacist, and to my knowledge has no problem with gays. So, even though Mark Ruffalo is on the left and stood by his buddy, the left wasn't having it. They came out and said, the way white men go out of the way to defend their homophobic friends. This person just simply declared, I hate white men. Those were just the mild ones. Most of the tweets I can't show you because they're all laced with profanity, mostly the F word. Basically everybody just telling Mark Ruffalo to shut the up. Okay? Now, nobody got it worse than Zoe Saldana. Zoe Saldana looks like a very lovely person. I've never heard anything bad about her. Some of the ones that came out about her were just a nasty biracial woman. Of course, it's the Dominican. Black and stupid. All for just defending a friend, Chris Pratt. Now, those were also the mild tweets. Many of them were racial slurs that I haven't heard since like the 80s. I mean, I'm not talking about the N-word. While I may not agree that systemic racism is prevalent, just individual racism absolutely is. I mean, these people just went after her. All she did was post some Tupac lyrics and say, hey Chris, we got your back. We all know what you're about. But all the people who don't really know Chris or what he's really about aren't going to take Mark's word for it. They're not going to take Zoe's word for it. They're not going to take Robert's word for it. They're going to pile on and tell you how you should feel about Star-Lord because they are the tolerant left, except when someone ticks them off and disagrees with them. Now, what is interesting about one of those quotes is when they said, Chris uses his gigantic platform to preach in a way that's divisive. And yet, the original tweet, where it said, hey, one has to go, was in itself divisive. You know, it was very innocent. The person was just saying, hey, which three do you prefer? But you are dividing. That's the very essence of divisiveness. Chris Pratt, all he's doing is coming out and saying, I'm a Christian. I'm trying to be the best Christian I can be. God loves all of us. And we call him a white supremacist, homophobic, and all his friends are stupid, should go themselves. This is what's become a society. If you don't have a Twitter account, don't log on. Never log on. It's not worth it. Like Robert Downey Jr. said, you might as well shut down all your social media. Go look in the mirror and work on your own defects. I ain't got nothing else to say. Other than, if you like this video, click thumbs up, share, and subscribe, and that bell notification so that you will be alerted when I post new videos. And don't forget to put your comments below. Hey, if you want to talk about which Chris that you prefer, go ahead and put that in there. But if you want to defend Chris Pratt, put that in there as well. If you don't like Chris Pratt, hey, put that in there as well. If you don't like the Avengers, go for it. Just please don't put the profanity in, or else it's going to get flagged as spam, and I'm not going to put it in the comments. So let's be mature about this. As always, oh, let me just say, I like Chris Pratt. I think he was great as Star-Lord. I like Chris Pine. I like Chris Evans. I don't think he's a total bore. And I really like Chris Hemsworth because he's funny and he just seems down to earth. I like all those bros. Anyway, guys, love you. Have a blessed week.